Welcome aboard the SS Harmony, a floating paradise drifting through the turquoise waters of the Caribbean. I'm Javier Lopez, a 45-year-old marine biologist who calls this luxury cruise ship home, along with 300 other residents living in its lavish cabins. Picture this: sun-kissed decks, crystal chandeliers, and a mangrove garden, a lush green oasis I've tended for years. Those mangroves aren't just pretty, their roots filter our water, stabilize the ship's ballast, and host egrets and fiddler crabs. My abuela planted the first saplings decades ago, and it's been our heartbeat ever since. But peace was shattered when Marjorie Klein, our HOA president, set her sights on it. With her pearl necklaces and a voice like a foghorn, she saw the garden as a blemish on her vision of a glitzy pool deck. She had no idea her greed would tilt the Harmony into chaos. It began with a letter slipped under my cabin door on a balmy October morning. The red ink screamed, "Violation notice. Your mangrove garden poses a health hazard due to pests and obstructs luxury aesthetics. Remove within 60 days or face $1,000 daily fines." My hands shook as I read it to my partner, Maria, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Javier, this is our legacy," she cried. I knew those mangroves were vital. Ship engineers confirmed they balanced our weight, preventing tilts in rough seas. But Marjorie, with her clipboard and smug grin, had other plans. I'd overheard her at the captain's gala, whispering to a contractor about a pool deck that would skyrocket property values. This wasn't about safety, it was profit. I gathered evidence, photos of thriving wildlife, a petition with 30 signatures, and a report from the ship's ecologist. The HOA meeting was held on the grand deck, the sea breeze carrying tension among the 150 residents gathered. Marjorie stood at the helm, her pearls glinting under the sun, flanked by her board, Sandra, who'd gotten a waived fine for her hot tub, and Greg, whose overdue dues vanished mysteriously. "This mangrove garden is a disgrace," Marjorie declared, her voice cutting through the waves, waving a glossy report from a marine consultant. "It breeds mosquitoes and endangers stability." I rose, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. "That consultant's your brother, Marjorie. The mangroves stabilize us. Ship logs from the last storm prove it." Murmurs rippled. Old Captain Ruiz, who'd sailed with my abuela, nodded. "They saved us in '98. But others, lured by Marjorie's promise of a poolside elite status, wavered. Sandra piped up, "I've seen crabs everywhere. It's unsanitary." We'd shared paella last month. Now she was bought. The vote passed 9-3, Marjorie's smirk a challenge. That night, sleepless in my cabin, I dove into ship records. Hargrove Marine, Marjorie's family firm, had filed plans for a pool deck over the mangrove site. The consultant was her brother, flagged for falsifying marine reports. Worse, the Harmony. S ballast relied on the mangroves' weight distribution. Removing them risked capsizing in heavy seas. I posted my findings on the ship's intranet, but Marjorie deleted it, branding me a rebel. A week later, at 2 a.m., the hum of machinery woke us. I rushed to the deck, Maria filming, as workers in hazmat suits uprooted the mangroves. Marjorie oversaw, waving a court order. Emergency health measure, approved by the ship's legal officer. By dawn, the garden was a muddy scar, egrets gone, roots dangling like broken limbs. "This is progress," she sneered. I alerted the crew, but they deferred to the HOA. Our fight was just beginning. The first storm hit 3 days later. A tropical squall that tested the Harmony's mettle. Without the mangrove's roots anchoring the ballast, the ship listed to port, water sloshing into lower cabins. Sandra's hot tub overflowed. Greg's lounge flooded. "Just rough seas," they shrugged. But I called my friend Elena, a naval engineer. She boarded with sensors, her face grim. "Javier, the ballast's off balance. This could capsize us." We monitored shifts. The tilt worsened. Cracks appeared in the hull. I shared Elena's data on the intranet, but Marjorie banned me again. More cabins flooded. Captain Ruiz's quarters, the Patel's suite. At the next meeting, Marjorie deflected. "We're adding stabilizers." Elena's readings showed the ship teetering on disaster. I confronted Sandra privately. "Marjorie promised me a poolside cabin," she admitted, eyes downcast. "My business is sinking." Captain Ruiz posted a turning point online. "Those mangroves steadied us in the '98 hurricane. Saved the ship." Residents shared memories, crab races, egret sightings, quiet mornings. Doubt in Marjorie swelled. I uncovered more. HOA charged $600,000 for the removal, but costs were $200,000. The rest funneled to Hargrove Marine. I filed with the Maritime Authority. Inspectors arrived, testing ballast and interviewing crew. Marjorie launched a PR stunt, hosting a deck party to distract us, calling me a mutineer. But when Greg's cabin flooded, costing $50,000, he flipped, leaking emails where Marjorie offered him a cut of pool profits. "I needed cash," he muttered, handing me the files. The crew stirred, but Marjorie's influence held until nature struck. The Category 3 storm roared in November, waves crashing against the Harmony. Without the mangroves, the ballast failed, tilting the ship 15 degrees. Water flooded Marjorie's penthouse suite, her pearl collection sinking into the muck. Emergency sirens blared as passengers evacuated to upper decks. News drones buzzed overhead, capturing the chaos, flooded casinos, tilted pools. At a crisis meeting in the ballroom, residents waved damage bills. "You tilted us!" Sandra shouted. I projected Elena's charts and Greg's emails. Marjorie shrieked, "This is sabotage!" But Captain Ruiz revealed bank records, $500,000 embezzled to Hargrove Marine. The crowd roared, boos, demands for arrest. Security escorted Marjorie to a locked cabin as she cursed, her reign crumbling. Elena warned, the next wave could sink us. The maritime investigation moved swiftly. Elena testified on the mangroves' role. Greg detailed Marjorie's bribes. Her brother confessed to faking the report for profit. Marjorie faced charges of fraud, maritime endangerment, and embezzlement, sentenced to 15 years in a coastal prison. Her assets, $2 million in property and cash, funded repairs. Engineers replanted mangroves, recalibrating the ballast with eco-friendly weights. Sandra led a reformed HOA, mandating environmental reviews. Legal battles with insurance dragged on, denying claims as man-made, but crew morale soared. 6 months later, the Harmony hosted a mangrove revival festival. Kids planted saplings, Elena taught water cycles. Marjorie's pool deck plans sank, her firm bankrupt. The garden bloomed, whispering redemption. Restoration was a Herculean task. Maritime grants covered $15 million, bolstered by passenger fundraisers, seafood buffets, art sales of mangrove sketches. Maria and I sowed mangrove seeds, watching egrets nest again. Crew like Greg, once Marjorie's ally, hauled soil, guilt fueling their effort. "I was wrong," he said, planting a sapling. Insurance fights persisted, sparking lawsuits, and some families disembarked, trust shattered. But others stayed, bonded by the ordeal. Elena's research went viral, making the Harmony a model for eco-ships. Evenings, Maria and I sat by the garden, crabs scuttling. "We saved Abuela's dream," she said. The cost, flooded cabins, lost trust, lingered, but hope took root. Marjorie E's trial exposed a wider web. She detargeted ship gardens across 3 cruise lines, pocketing $3 million. Our case spurred maritime laws requiring ecological audits. Sandra's HOA consulted Caribbean ecologists, weaving indigenous planting into restoration. The mangroves echoed their wisdom. One day, Sandra brought me a photo of my abuela tending the first saplings, found in ship logs. "You honored her," she said. We hugged, past betrayals fading. The garden drew eco-tourists, boosting onboard shops. Cabin values rose, not from pools, but from our living ecosystem. 2 years on, the Harmony thrives. The mangroves grow tall, stabilizing the ship. Marjorie, paroled, vanished. Rumors say she's a deckhand elsewhere. We host eco-cruises, teaching kids marine care. The mangroves revival taught us vigilance. Sandra's HOA holds open deck forums preventing tyranny. Elena's book, Roots of the Sea, funds conservation. New passengers vow to protect the garden. As kids chase crabs, I see triumph, a community reborn through adversity. Marjorie's greed tilted us, but unity righted us. The mangroves stand as proof, disrupt nature, and it reveals truths no ocean can hide. This garden isn't just plants, it's our soul, swaying with justice. Sunset paints the mangroves gold, their rustle a hymn of hope. My abuela's spirit lives in every root, every wave. We turned disaster into legacy, proving that when people and nature align, no greed can sink them. The Harmony's garden is our heart, beating strong against corruption's tide.